Dear friends, I am very happy to invite Yeshwant Sinhaji to the press meet on behalf of the Kerala Union of Working Journalists and the Kesari Memorial Journalist Trust. Sinha is not an unfamiliar face to any of us. In fact, we all looked to him when he had chosen to criticize the wrong policies of the ruling central government while staying within the party. The decision to field him as the united opposition candidate for the presidential election, he once again underlined his true worthiness. I think Kerala is the only state is get full votes to the candidate, none other than you, both from LDF and UDF. Dear sir, we are extremely proud to host you here today. The very thankful, and you have accepted our invitation. Let me once again invite you, sir.
Suresh. Thank you, Suresh ji, for your kind invitation to meet the friends from the media this afternoon here. Friends, before I come to the subject of the day, I would like to express my sincerest condolences at the passing away of Shri Sadasiva Menon, who was a leading politician of this state and minister of various departments, including the Department of Finance. I had the opportunity of close interaction with him when I was finance minister, and I always held him in the highest regard. So my very deep condolences at his passing away. The second is that I thought I'll take this opportunity to condemn in the strongest possible terms the ghastly killing of a person, Kanhaiya Lal, in Udaipur in Rajasthan. Our democracy has no place for such acts of violence, and all of us need to condemn such acts of violence, and the perpetrators of the crime should be punished as strongly as the law of the land permits. I would also like to take this opportunity to condemn the arrest of Muhammad Zubair, who, as you know, is a journalist who co-founded Alt News. His arrest is malicious, mischievous, and entirely against the accepted principles of law in our country. It is ironical that his arrest took place on the day when India, represented by the Prime Minister, was waxing eloquent in the meeting of G7 in Germany about the need to protect free speech both online and offline. And this is a quote from the Prime Minister's speech. Friends, at the end of the press briefing, we have a written statement which we shall share with you. But I'll just pick up a few points to personally mention them to you. I was selected as the joint presidential candidate by various opposition parties which met in Delhi over 2 days and ultimately settled on my name for this contest. When approached, I accepted this nomination because it is a part of the struggle that I also have been waging against the government of the day. And it fitted entirely with my outlook on various issues. I filed my nomination papers in the presence of very distinguished leaders of opposition parties in Delhi day before, and immediately after filing my nomination, we decided to start our campaign from the very next day. And what better place there could be than the beautiful state of Kerala to begin this campaign. So we came here last evening. Today I met the leaders and legislators of the LDF. The Chief Minister was present, and subsequently I met the leaders and legislators of the UDF. And I am here in front of you now. I have been assured by both these formations that they will support me in this election, and thereby Kerala becomes one state in this country where the votes cast in the presidential elections will be 100% in favor of one candidate, and that is me. So, Kerala is a beautiful state. The people of Kerala are very friendly people. God has been very kind to Kerala, but Kerala has been very kind to my candidature. And I'd like to thank all the leaders of LDF and UDF, and especially the Chief Minister, for hosting me today and declaring their support for me. Friends, this election for the post of President of India has become very significant because of the situation prevailing in our country. And as I mentioned to you earlier, we are passing through a very difficult phase on various fronts. The economy, of which I have some idea, is in serious crisis. And I'd like to share with you the fact that when this very silly decision of demonetization was taken in 2016, it dealt a body blow to the economy. 6 years down the line, we are aware of the fact that all the currency which was in circulation, if not more, returned to the Reserve Bank of India. The RBI used to come out with figures of how much currency was coming back, you will recall. And they stopped giving the figures after I think it crossed 100%. How did it cross 100%? Why did it cross 100%? No explanation. Then, 6 years down the line, I don't have any idea, and I wonder if you have any idea, of how much black money was detected as a result of demonetization. Perhaps none. I am not aware of any case which may have been launched by the various agencies of the government against the hoarders of black money after demonetization. Which means what? Which means that all the black money that was in the system came into the banking system and became white. That's why I say that demonetization is the biggest scam of this century, because it helped convert all the black money into white. We have forgotten about demonetization. Nobody talks about it today. But apart from converting black money into white, apart from being a great scam, it also, as I said, dealt a body blow to the economy. And you only have to look at the figures of annual growth rate of the Indian economy. In the year of demonetization, and I'm saying this, unfortunately, it is not there in the written statement. In the year of demonetization, 6 years ago, Indian economy had a growth rate of over 8% annually. A few years down the line, after demonetization and before COVID hit the country, it came down to 4%. 4%, that means half of the growth rate that we were consistently achieving. Why did it come down to half? Because of demonetization, and also additionally because of a washed up GST, goods and services tax, which was hurriedly introduced. It was badly designed and continues to be badly designed even today. Then came COVID, and the economy went into a negative growth of almost 10%. We are now slowly recovering, but we are nowhere near that 8% growth rate that we had witnessed before demonetization. And when nation's growth rate goes down, that you know, there is less money in our pockets, in the pockets of the people of this country. Therefore, they consume less, demand goes down, and the economy slows down further. But today we are in a very peculiar situation, because today we are witnessing not only a deceleration in demand, we are also witnessing high inflation. And this state of the economy, as you are aware, is called stagflation, a stagnation accompanied with inflation. India is today in the grip of a stagflation. People are suffering, and the government is only blowing its trumpet without doing anything worthwhile. So that is as far as the economy is concerned. On the other hand, we are aware of the style of functioning of this government, which is, to say the least, authoritarian. One man rules the country. Institutions of democracy have been weakened, devalued, diminished, and in many cases, they have ceased to play the role they were meant to. So what has happened? People have no recourse. If I have a grievance, I don't know where to go. And I am including the judiciary when I say that people have no recourse. The courts were supposed to be the forum where the citizen could go for justice. There is also a saying, justice delayed is justice denied. Now, if I go to a High Court or the Supreme Court of India and my petition does not come up for hearing for years on end, it is justice delayed and therefore justice denied. I am talking to you today in Thiruvananthapuram, but I remember with horror what happened to Jammu and Kashmir in the year 2019 with the abolition of Article 370 and 35A. Many people went to the Supreme Court challenging the action of the Government of India in abolishing Article 370 and 35A. So far, 3 years have elapsed and the case has not come up for hearing. Similarly, you will remember that the Government of India passed in great hurry an act called the CAA. That has been challenged in the Supreme Court, no hearing. People tell me a number of such cases are pending. I'll humbly request the Supreme Court of India to take up these issues and bring justice to the citizens. So as I said, people have no recourse. We all feel helpless in the system. We don't know where to go. But we also know that while old people like me will perhaps take things lying down, the youth of this country will not. And that is why the youth of this country is on the streets. This Agnipath scheme is one of the most foolish schemes anyone could have thought of. You really need a very devious mind to think of schemes like this and playing with the armed forces of the country, the discipline of the armed forces is a very, very dangerous development. And this scheme was brought without any consultation. In our parliamentary system, we have standing committees of parliament. There is a standing committee on defense which would have considered this issue. But it was not considered, it was not sent there for consideration. It was all adopted in a hurry, and we are seeing the result on the ground in terms of the agitation of the youth. And this is no way to solve the problem of unemployment. So inflation in the economy, unemployment, and absence of recourse have made the life extremely difficult. It is these issues and my continued struggle against them that prompted me to accept the offer of the opposition parties to contest this election. And I am here before the electors, before the people of this country, starting with Kerala, to seek their support. I would like to emphasize that we need a thinking, speaking president in Rashtrapati Bhavan. We do not need a rubber stamp. And I was just mentioning in a meeting earlier today that you only have to see, we have had a woman Rashtrapati earlier in Pratibha Patilji. She filed her nomination papers in 2007. And in the social media, there are photographs of her filing her nomination papers. Dr. Manmohan Singh is sitting next to her. There are other leaders of the Congress party and alliance partners who are in the frame. But it is Pratibha Patilji who is shown getting up and presenting her nomination papers to the returning officer. Do you recall who presented the nomination paper of the present government candidate? Any one of you? Do you remember that photograph? It is not the candidate. It is the Prime Minister of India who is presenting the nomination paper. I presented my own nomination paper. So, this shows what a fate awaits India. And therefore, I am before the electors. You know, the electors are MLAs and MPs. I am before them. This is my first stop. We are going to various state capitals after this, meeting with legislators and MPs and requesting them for their support. I am aware of the fact that there are some who believe that numbers are not in my favor. I'd like to say it is not always, every election is not a numbers game. But even if it's a numbers game, it is a developing situation. The campaign has just begun. You will see a lot of changes between now and the 18th of July when the actual voting takes place. Thank you.
Please identify yourselves before you pose your questions.
I don't think we have any question.
Or everyone is satisfied? Yeah.
I'm Ashwin from Republic TV.
Yes.
In support of your candidature, has there been some kind of a shock for you, especially when it comes to parties like JMM or for that matter BDP? Has that been a shock or are you still trying
BDP?
to...
Not you.
I'm sorry,
TDP.
Aam Aadmi Party and JMM, especially from Jharkhand, you had... so do you think you'll be able to convince them? How do you plan to approach parties who are what opposition, but at the same time not, inching closer to you?
Jharkhand Mukti Morcha,
Yeah.
which is the ruling party of my home state, was present in the meeting where my candidature was decided. Because the candidate of the other side has a certain identity, there is a feeling that they may not stand by their support for me. I have a different opinion. They have not said no to my candidature yet officially. I'll wait for the time when they make up their mind. And I'm quite confident that they will ultimately be in my support. Aam Aadmi Party you mentioned. Aam Aadmi Party, for their own reasons, don't attend opposition party meetings. I'm in touch with them and I'm equally confident that they will also support me.
Sir, I'm Deepu from Manorama. So you know the Maharashtra political episode is going on. So there are allegations from last so many years that central government is using governors as a political tool. So how do you see that allegation? So how do you see the Maharashtra political crisis right now?
Thank you for asking that question. Maybe I should have talked about it in my initial remarks. What is happening in Maharashtra is a sordid repetition of the story which has taken place in various other states. The BJP government in Delhi uses all its might to overturn the verdict of the people. This has happened in so many states, you know this. It is happening once more in Maharashtra. They use money power, they use or misuse the power of the agencies of the government, namely the Enforcement Directorate, Income Tax, CBI, everything else, to suppress people and force them to toe their line. In addition, they also make them rich. So this is the sordid saga that we are witnessing in Maharashtra today. I have no doubt that BJP is behind all the mischief which is taking place in Maharashtra, their denials notwithstanding. Otherwise, why should the so-called rebel MLAs go all the way to Assam, which is a BJP-ruled state? They wanted to be so far away from any influence of their friends and colleagues in Maharashtra. So it is a BJP conspiracy. It is a Government of India conspiracy. It is entirely anti-democratic. And we are completely opposed to such goings on.
Any more questions? Yeah, ladies.
Identify yourself, please.
Sir, my name is Angel Matthew. I'm from Asianet News, sir. Sir, despite of being together in this election, there was some criticism that no ruling party leaders were there to welcome you at Trivandrum International Airport yesterday. And the Congress President K. Sudhakaran, Kerala Congress KPCC President K. Sudhakaran said that Pinarayi is afraid of Modi. Do you want to comment on it, sir?
I don't want to comment on this. I can only tell you that I had a very, very good meeting with the leaders and legislators of LDF. The Chief Minister was personally present. He received me in the Vidhan Sabha and spoke nice words about me, and they are fully in support. So therefore, there is no question of their thinking or behaving otherwise.
There is one more question.
Sir, you have been extremely critical of the finance policy of the current government. The state government yesterday, the finance minister in Kerala had stated that the cumulative debt in Kerala, which is running on a socialist policy, is 3.32 lakh crore, which has doubled. The debt has doubled since 2015. So you have seen the two different policies, and both seems to be, you're critical of one and the other one is clearly not working. So what do you see that there is a problem? What kind of model should the country take up?
The model is very clear. I have no doubt about the model. But we have passed through exceptional times. And those exceptional times were caused, as you're aware, by COVID. Kerala was a victim of COVID pandemic. Every state, including the Government of India, had to set aside accepted principles of fiscal discipline and meet the exigencies of the situation. So I'm not surprised that Kerala's debt has gone up. If you look at all the other states' debts and the Government of India's debt, you will notice that all of them have also gone up during this period.
I think they're done.
Okay? Thank you.
The question is over. Then Anupama will deliver vote of thanks.